So today we'll be continuing with our uh, previous session on last Monday, which is basically we're trying to analyze the San Francisco crimes data. Last time we briefly looked into the data, what type of fields we have, and some rough. We started to get some rough idea into what this data is about, like what type of crimes got recorded, uh, what is the peak time of the highest high crime rate, and etc. And we we left at a point where we are coming into the geographical analysis of this crime rate. So last time, so this is where we stopped, and as of now what I did was, in this particular map, I have plotted down all the crime locations that were uh, uh, recorded. Let me check for all the years in the last 12 from 2003 to 2015. So one thing clearly we can see is that the and this is not all the crimes. So I have just selected few like 4 to 5 crime type of category of crimes. So but this gives the general sense of overall crime rate as well across the city regions. So if we see that the normal at a quick glance, we can observe that the highest in the northeastern region, right? Especially in this particular region, we can see more number of crimes. At basically the density of crimes is higher over here, and less being on the western side, and here on a moderate level, right? So this is something that we can quickly get from the first glance of this particular map, and each color being obviously the type of crime category. So we'll try and look dig little deeper into this map and see what we can get out of it. So obviously the as of now, if you see the map of the San Francisco city, it's very what we say raw. So we can do a couple of quick things to help us understand a little more into this data. For example, if I go to map and map layers, we have different settings over here. So what I can do here is I can set up since I'm at a city level, obviously state and country borders wouldn't help much, but the county and the zip borders would help me. So yeah, as soon as I selected that, I've got my boundaries for each of the zip codes, and I can clearly see the crimes in some of the zip codes are very less. For example, this particular zip code and this zip code, we have a little crime, and so it could be possibly either this particular zip code might not be as inhabited as the other zip codes where we are seeing high crime rates. And likewise these as well. But this gives us a sense into which some context with the city geographics. And yeah,
I think I'm not an expert at this or anything like that, but so there are a number of offices located here. All these areas, this is all downtown, and a lot of office areas are here. Just for your information.
Okay, understood. So okay, now obviously we have that, and let's quickly take a look at other fields that we have here, right? So obviously the address, category of crime, day of the week, so we can so this is something that I and Sai were talking in the last video. So basically with time, how the crime rate has been progressing. So for example, from this is 2003, this we already know, so you can see how the crime rate has been progressing with time across different regions. This as of now, this doesn't give us much information, but we'll hold it there as of now. and we have something called PD district. So this basically gives us the department of distinct police department, which is supposed to handle which regions of crime. So let me put this in color quickly, and so remove this.
Jagdish, is this like last time where we also ask for, so we can keep asking you which kind of
yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have any questions, just feel free to stop me. So if we see here, so I've colored all the crime locations based on the police department region, basically, which is supposed to be taking care of that particular crimes in that region. So if we see, we have some 8 to 9 to 10 different police, what we say, district police that are supposed to be there. And one thing we can see here clearly is some of these police department districts have huge areas to cover. So for example, police district like Richmond and this one Trouble, and whereas the other few other districts have very less region but high density of crimes that they have to take up, right? So this again leads us to again, if you have any questions, please feel free to stop me. So I have few set of questions that are going through. I will keep going in that pattern, but if you have any questions, just feel free to stop.
So just from a data perspective, Jagdish,
Right.
so the exact geolocation of the crime is known, is it? Or is the address?
It's the exact street location. So basically, if it's if you see, all of them are following a certain trend because they are all on the street. So
Yeah.
so it's basically the street address where that particular crime has occurred or reported. So
Okay. And you gave the street address, and Tableau automatically plotted it the right place.
Yes, we have latitude and longitude,
Or
and
did you have to-
no. So I have
oh,
my
lat long is there.
yes. I have
So
my
the lat long basically indicates the street location, right?
right.
Okay.
So and obviously, yeah, so this is the split of police districts or jurisdictions that we can think of which are responsible to handle crimes in different regions. Obviously after seeing this, if you think about a while, we'll get a question saying that okay, we obviously there will be a little interest in knowing, let's say, okay, these are all the crimes that were recorded under each of these police jurisdictions, but how many of them are getting solved? Okay, let's say we have high density here, obviously, but how many of these cases are getting solved? How many of cases that are under each police jurisdiction are getting solved? So these sort of questions will also help us understand a little bit more about the data, right? So what I did for that is basically I've written a couple of calculations. So for example, this first one, and so we have a field called resolution in the data, and if it is equated to none, if the value there is none, that means for that particular crime the resolution is not yet found, so I'm not counting those kind of cases, whereas for every other entry where it is not none, it means that they have found a resolution for that case. So I'm giving 1, so in order to count only those cases where we have found a resolution. So I've clicked and then I've created a secondary calculation based on my previous calculation to give me the ratio. So this is just the sum of my earlier field, which will give me all the cases that got resolved, the sum of cases that got resolved, and this one will give me a number of records. So basically means the total number of cases either solved or unsolved. So this ratio will give me the number of the ratio of crimes that got resolved. So let's jump here. Actually, here, yeah. If we see here, I've created a small table across each police district, and I've had few values. This is basically gives us the total number of cases that were recorded, and this gives us the crimes that were solved of these cases, and this is the ratio. And obviously we can see that and it is sorted based on the crime resolution, this ratio. So there are few districts that were performing well above, like there were 65%. We don't see anything, any other district that is close to you, like it's a 50%, but this is doing something exceptionally good. So which we might want to check it out in the map, which is Tenderloin. And there are few other districts that are doing exceptionally.
And also the number is also very high, that's for Tenderloin.
Yes.
So this is the count, right? That 80,000 is the number of crimes, right?
Right.
So that's a big number. It's almost on the, I think, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4th highest, I think, right?
Right.
Or 5th highest, maybe.
Right. Yeah. Right. And we have other cases like Central and Richmond, where always, so take for example, cases are very low. I'm sorry, the solvency percentage is very low, and Central being almost equally having the same number of cases as Tenderloin. So it's a good point. It's a good cue for us to compare the region Central and Tenderloin and see, though they are having almost similar number of cases, but the amount of crimes that are solved are drastically different. So this could help us see, this data could help us see the geographics of these two regions and see if we can get any insights in. So what I'll do here is I'll come back to our police department, our Clients Bidwell Police District, and I've created another calculation, which is at a district level calculation that gives us the same ratio, solvency ratio. So I'll put this in our tooltip. So yeah, so if you see on the tooltip, so this is Richmond, Police District Richmond, and we have, let me actually format it properly. It's okay. So yeah, so we have, let's quickly go through different regions and see the crime rate, right? I'm sorry, the solvency rate. So in this particular district, we have 27.54, which is I think the lowest that we have seen, our second lowest. So this is the one of the low performing regions, and let's say here we have 31%, which is also on the lower end. And let's see this one, Towel, so which is also on the lower end, 31%, and 35%, 42%, 45%. So as we are moving towards northeastern side, we can see the numbers are okay. So we have few 32 and 31 here, and we have 40% here. We have 28, which is the central, the last second one that we saw, and here we have another district, Tenderloin, which is the highest one, 65%, right? So so it's obviously at the first glance it makes us, it looks like it's a mix of everything, right? So it's not like on the western side we have high performing, and on the eastern side we have less performing police districts or something like that. So but if we take if we think about it for a while, you will get to a point where wherever the police jurisdiction is larger in terms of geographical area they have to cover, the percentage is going low. If you see, for example, Richmond, right, they have ton of area that they have to cover when compared to other jurisdictions. If you see, we have Tenderloin, which is highest performing, just about like fraction of whatever the total area that this particular jurisdiction has to cover, right? Less than 1/8 or something, Tenderloin. And we see that the percentage here is 27. And when we go to lower geographical jurisdictions, let's say, obviously Tenderloin is highest because it's the smallest geographical area that the department has to cover. Let's see the next smallest, and we have this park relatively smaller than Richmond, and obviously the crime rate is little better. And this one we can think of like almost similar to Richmond, and 31% still on the lower end. And this is again as of now, this is all we at this point in time we are just trying to understand the data and why is it the way it is. Okay, this is these sort of analysis will give us the clues into our further insights. So we are not making any conclusions as of now, but these are just different hints which we might want to probe further and do any related studies, qualitative or quantitative if necessary, to get the overall picture. But as of now, it looks like if the geographical area is less, okay, under the each police jurisdiction, the performance higher crime, the crime solvency is little higher. We don't know, that could be we are not completely sure, but that's what it looks like. It could possibly be because also because of the workforce. Let's say assume that the case, if all of these different police jurisdictions have similar workforce, okay, number of people working, in that case it definitely makes sense for X number of people to cover a larger area than to a smaller area, right? So that could also be possible reason. So giving that additional data, looking at that additional data of how much workforce that each of these police departments districts have will give us a few much more clearer insights into why the solvency rates are different across these districts.
That's a very good point, Jagdish. In fact, I was also thinking along the same lines. So, one thing that we can remember in these kinds of situations is, so whenever a service sort of thing is provided, right, they have this metric of number of, let's say, for example, here it could be number of police per person of the population, something like that. Or it can be in a healthcare scenario, it can be number of hospital beds per person. So that is one metric which governments use today to evaluate the effectiveness of the services that they provide in a particular locality. So like Jagdish said, in each of those districts, if you have that metric of number of police per capita, then that could be a normalized measure of the workforce that you have in that district, and that could help you take the correct decision of how much staff to put in that district.
Right.
A good point. Sorry.
So, okay. Does anyone have any other questions like we might think through at this point in time? I'm just trying to see. Okay. So obviously, we have seen across each police district, right? So, and as of now, we do not have.
I think one other measure actually, so it's also number of crimes per police.
Right.
It's also an interesting measure to see, because at the end of the day, this is assuming that each crime is sort of similar. So a petty theft will probably consume much lesser time when compared to a complex financial crime that happens maybe in a bank or something like that, right? So assuming same, then I think number of crimes per police also, or per available person, police person also is an interesting measure to see.
Right. Yes. So yeah, again, that brings us back to that data. So we would have to get that additional data in order to probe further into that level of information to get insights. Okay. So next, obviously, yes.
Just to add to Chaitanya's point, can we see what kind of crime is more in tribal and central region to compare? We are seeing that the crime solving ratio is very high in Tenderloin.
Yes.
So what is the highest number of crime that is happening? So basically, what kind of crime
in that
this
particular region?
and when we are comparing it to central?
Okay, nice point. So okay, as of now, as I said earlier, we are just looking at these particular crime rates. Okay, these particular category of crimes in each of these districts overall to get the measures and all. If we see, so Tenderloin is basically this region here. This this region over here, and we can see that most of them are common, just like other assault and bribery. Assault is like a normal what we say, fight or something. So it looks like the distribution of crimes almost looks similar overall, right? So we have most of the cases being assault or bribery, and some of them others being kidnapping and missing, the majority being these two. Okay, obviously we have seen the solvency percentage across police district, right? Then other good point we can take a look at is basically not at the police district level, but also at the category level. So what type of crimes are getting solved more and what type of crimes are not getting solved, right? So let me note this. So yeah, these are all the different types of crimes that we have. Let me sort them out. And yeah, so we have something with the 94% of case solvency ratio, which is basically, and these are warrants. Not exactly sure what type of case these are, but yeah, at the top most of the table we have some driving under influence. So this could be like drunk and drive, similar to that, and we have a few other. And on the least side, least solving cases, we have something called vehicle theft cases, vandalism, and recovered vehicle. So these sort of cases are less likely to get solved when compared to the other cases on the top. And we can view this metric in different dimensions actually. So we can also look at on a year level basis and check the performance of the overall police workforce across each year and get further insights into how the police force is working. We can also split the same ratio across each to view the performance across years for each of these different police districts. So that will also give us little insights, but let's not get into there as of now. But let's quickly get to one other interesting point. So as of now, we can see, so this is the rough map of our crime rates that are happening, and we see that on this region we have higher crime rates, and I think it would be interesting for us to probe this a little further and get why some what we say clues in order to why this is happening, why we have so much higher crime rate here when compared to other regions on the west. So what we can do is, obviously we are limited in our data set in terms of how to answer or probe this particular question. But I'm sorry, just a minute, some noise. Okay, so as what I'm trying to say here is basically we have this data, but we are limited in terms of probing this particular issue that we just talked about into further. But what Tableau does here is, so Tableau provides us some general information that we can relate to, just like how we were talking a little ago about Sai was telling that police force, and Chaitanya was talking about per cap number of crimes per police, etc. So these sort of metrics, we do not have exactly those metrics, but some metrics similar to those metrics that Tableau provides us ready-made, so where we can use and get a little further insights into our data. For example, if we go to map and map layers, at the bottom we can see something called a data layer. Okay, as of now we do not have any data layer, but once we open this data, yeah, as I was talking about, we have few metrics that we can relate to here. If you can see general population and occupation, so these sort of few metrics that are there, and let's see how we can use them. Obviously we'd be interested to know, okay, the first one is age, right? Like this will give us, hey, in that particular geographical location, what is the median age of the group of people that normally reside there. So we can get a sense. This is a good point to look at as well. So if this particular region is having higher crime rate, does it have any age related points to take a look at, like young people or old people, that sort of analysis that you can take. So as soon as I click age here, it will give me a few other fields for me to choose. So at what level, at what geographical level would you want to have this age distribution? So either state, country, or zip code. Based on, since I'm looking at a city, I'll select zip code and I can set up the color code. Now here on the left I have my median age group. So I'll split across the color. So let me actually remove some of the years, thereby we can have a clear look actually. Let me go with 1 year, so we understood which areas are high crime prone and all. Yeah. So if we see, the darker blue regions are more basically are people where high age group people live, and lighter shaded regions where younger population lives, almost like and okay, so it at a glance it doesn't look like any distinctive separation between age and the crime location, right? Obviously we have in this particular region a little older population living, we can see that, and but there are also other areas where the crime rate is similarly high, but we have younger population living as well, and here also we can see older population but not so much of crime rate. Here also highly older population but not so much of crime rate. So it doesn't look like there's a proper correlation between association between age and the crime rate, right? So guys, if you have anything to add, you can feel free to jump in and add. And so okay, so this is age, and what other metrics that do we have?
Jagdish, this age data, so this is inbuilt in Tableau, right? By default.
Yes.
It comes.
So
this will
is
be of the latest 2020 or 2021 or?
No, so Tableau normally updates this data once in a while. So as of now, it says here 2018. As of this data is as of 2018.
2018. Okay.
Right.
Got it.
So assuming that we have the right data, so normally it would be appropriate for us to look at, since we are looking at the 2014 crime rate, it would be appropriate to look at 2014, but as of now we do not have access to the data. So
got it, understood.
Right.
And Jagdish, is this feature limited only to US or even for other countries as well?
I doubt it is available for other countries. Normally it would work on US itself. Yeah,
it should probably be only for the US.
Yes. So this is age, and on the age, yeah, we couldn't properly make any distinctive patterns, and I think we're running out of time. Let's quickly check few other, and obviously the other important is population, right? Like, can obviously hint if the see some intuitions. Okay. And this gives us sense that hey, mostly all of the regions are equally populated, if not so, except for few here and here. So all of them are equally populated, but the crimes are distinctly crime rates are very distinct across the region. So obviously the population seems like doesn't hold much information in helping us differentiate. And let's see whether we have male to female ratio. I think this would also be interesting. So if we see, okay, so this gives us a good amount of correspondence between crime rate and the metric that we have chosen, right? Male to female ratio. So these are all especially the areas where we are seeing high crime rate. We have higher ratio of male to female ratio. Whereas where the crime rate is less, we are seeing less male to female ratio. So this could potentially mean one point where we have to look further into the analysis of understanding how the crime rates are working. And as of now, the point to note here is, though we are seeing this distinctive pattern, the association between higher male to female ratio with higher crime rate, we are not saying that which one is causing which. We are not saying it's not conclusive yet if the higher male to female ratio is actually causing these higher crime rates, okay? It's just the association that we are talking about, but we are not sure which one is causing which. Is it because the higher crime rates causing the male to female ratio to be higher, or the higher male to female ratios are causing the crime rates to be higher? It's not sure. It is just the association, and in order to understand the causality, you need to do some other qualitative studies behind it, and you will be able to understand it. And
Jagdish, can I just check? There was one of the parameters there, blue collar or white collar occupations.
Right. We'll yeah. Where is it?
Just check for white collar.
Yeah. Would you like to explain like what a white collar is for our folks?
Yeah. So white collar is usually the kind of work that we do, right? We sit in offices and we work in high-class posh AC rooms in front of our computer. So that is what is, and even bank jobs for that matter, right? So these are all the white collar jobs. Blue collar is what the work that you usually do in factories or the manual work. So that is a blue collar job. But
Right.
I think here there does not. No, I think there is no correlation.
Right.
So can you check about per capita income?
Yeah, sure. Let's quickly go with this blue collar also. So blue collar is basically where the physical work is involved. And okay, this also doesn't give us much, but we can see some less blue collar jobs in this area when compared to other areas. Okay, and per capita income. All the northern region have high per capita income, but again, on the left side we have similar per capita, whereas the crime rates are less. But the southern regions per capita income is little low compared to the northern regions. Again, I think this could be because the point that Chaitanya mentioned, that all the companies will lie on the top right side, right? Okay, and one other metric that we can look at is household income. Let's see, just a small difference. The income is here less. This is again, I think this is this region is Tenderloin, right? Okay, Tenderloin region, household income is less. Okay, and let's see household size. This is also another interesting point. This almost distinguishes the higher crime rate regions and lower crime rate regions also slightly, not as much as the other metric that we saw. But yeah, again, we don't know, is it which one is causing which? Is the higher crime rates causing lower household size, or lower household size is causing the higher crime rates? So that one needs to be probed yet. What other quick this is again something, and yeah, some people normally have issues, not issues, but people correspond with so certain race when it is when we're talking about higher crime rates. So we can always check here, let's say the white race. So yeah, most of these regions have similar white population, and let's see the other races. Almost this one is also at a similar scale. So American Indian. So yeah, so this doesn't look like they have any correspondence as well. Like most of them are equally, all the races are equally, except for one or two, which also doesn't hold much correspondence. Yeah. So that gives us that tells us that normally the crime rates are not corresponding, especially in this particular data set, are not corresponding to dominance of any certain race in the higher crime rate regions, because yeah.